Today is Wednesday, Parashat Bemidbar. The parasha begins with the census of the Jewish people in the desert. Then it goes on to tell us about how they were encamped in the desert. They traveled from one station to another. There were 42 travelings, if you wish, and each place they might have stayed for a few days or a few months. But however long they stayed there was a definite way that they were camped in the desert. It was not just all a mixed jumble of different tribes together. The Mishkan was right in the center of the camp to tell us about the focal point of the Jewish people was the Mishkan, the traveling sanctuary. That was where the service was done in the Mishkan. Later, the Bet HaMikdash replaced the Mishkan. And nowadays, we have the synagogue as a sort of Mishkan Me'at, or sort of Mikdash Me'at. That aspect of the synagogue really is the central and focal point of any community. For a community to thrive, you have to have a synagogue, a place where people meet to pray, to learn Torah, to congregate. So that's the Mishkan. The spiritual focal point of the camp was right in the center. Around it were the 12 tribes, not just in any jumbled way, but it was very well structured. On the east was 3 tribes, Yehuda, Issachar, and Zvulun. Then on the south was another 3 tribes, which was Reuven, and Reuven together with him had with him also Shimon, the tribe of Shimon, and also with him also was the other tribe besides Reuven was Shimon and the tribe of Gad. So that's 3 in the south, and then in the west there was another group, and then in the north there was another group of 3. And let's say on the west, it was the tribe of Ephraim, and together with it was Menashe, and together with him was Binyamin. And in the north was the tribe, the grouping under the heading of Dan, but together with him, with Dan, there was Asher and Naphtali. So this formation, according to the Midrash, was parallel to a formation in heaven, in Shamayim, where there's 4 groupings of angels that are right around the Kisei HaKavod, around God's throne of glory. So that what happened here in the camp of Israel was a parallel in a certain organization to what was in Shamayim. But it's not just that. Also when Yaakov Avinu passed away and his children carried him to take him to be buried in Me'arat HaMachpelah, Yaakov Avinu was assigned to his sons how to be organized. He instructed them how to be around the coffin to carry him, and that was the same formation. So it's a very meaningful concept of each tribe has its own location in terms of is it on the north or the south, and how they're grouped together. And not just that, each one of them had a banner. Each tribe had a banner, a flag, and each grouping of 3 had a flag that represented all 3. And each flag really represented the quality of that tribe. It had the color of the tribe that was also on the 12 stones on the breastplate, the jewels that were on the breastplate of the Kohen, that had on them the names of all the tribes. And that color, and also there was a symbol that represented each tribe and what it stood for. For instance, on the tribe of Yehuda was the banner that had on it a lion on a kind of a blue background. So that lion was representing of the leadership of Yehuda, who was from him came the kings, and he was David HaMelech was from the tribe of Yehuda, and Yehuda was the first to travel. When they traveled, he was the first one to jump from his tribe. Nachshon jumped into the sea before it parted, the parting of the sea. For instance, Asher had an olive tree on banner, represented the land that he received in the land of Israel that had a lot of olive trees in it. Issachar had on his banner. Issachar had like a kind of the sun and the moon and different, because he was a scholar that knew how to figure out and to calculate the orbits of the heavenly bodies, and so each one had that kind of quality that was unique to him. And in serving Hashem, just as represented by each one of the tribes, each person has his own unique personality, his unique character trait, his unique capacities, unique talents. And that's how each one of them has his own place around the Mishkan, and each one had its own banner that represents what he stood for in terms of his potential and his unique character in serving Hashem. But it was all focused on what? The Mishkan. Within the Mishkan was what? The Aron also, Aron with the tablets of the Torah. And the service of Hashem was done in the Mishkan with the lighting of the menorah, the korbanot, etc., and all around it, and all contributing whatever talents Hashem has granted them and has granted us at the service of Hashem. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'Amen.